Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing today? I can see you staring at me. It makes me nervous.
I knew we were gonna drop the ball on this shit once again. Sorry, audience.
You know what? It's like you don't even give it a second for the banter to come in. You're just like shaking your head. And it's like, all right, well,
I just knew it. I just felt it.
I'm like, I'm gonna nail this, and then I look up and as I'm speaking,
like,
I see
nah, you didn't nail it, bro. You didn't nail it.
It gets me in my head.
I'm gonna fuck with you every episode, bro.
Oh man.
All right, Umar, what's on the agenda for today?
All right. Well, we might as well get into the big topic, which I'm pretty sure everyone's been talking about since it's aired. But WandaVision has been complete. The season has wrapped. Its series finale has taken place, and we haven't talked about the last two episodes 8 and 9. So I figured let's get into that. So first, y'all both watch WandaVision?
Yes, we did.
Yep. And by the way, Umar, I just gotta call something up before you get into this. Was your prediction right?
Please, my predictions were so far off.
You know, your one prediction that there was going to be that one extra episode this week. I even went into this week and I'm like, let me just see. Maybe no, this is not surprised. I was surprised with behind the scenes video.
Yeah, no, we let's just say that I think many people can relate to this. That we just all put a little too much thought into the series, a lot more than the writers did, and so like. FYI, if anyone hasn't seen WandaVision, spoilers are coming. So just like skip ahead in the time stamp. So, Tactics, let's start with you. What did you think of episodes 8 and 9 of WandaVision?
Okay, so episode 8 was perfect. I love that episode. How they handled grief and the whole explanation in terms of how the whole hex came to be was so beautifully done and was a great representation. Kind of like almost like a metaphorical way of interpreting how people actually deal with grief in real life, in the sense of they get lost in their own world and their own sorrow. Yeah. And they start to kind of create this negative self-dialogue that they actually internalize and believe as true, and they get lost in that world. And I thought, obviously because of the superhero aspect to it, I found that to be very, very moving, very captivating. You really get a sense of the turmoil that Wanda is feeling, and that connection between her and Vision is solidified, because it's like I feel like within the MCU movies it was kind of just the relationship was kind of just thrown in there, and it was
in the background. The entire thing was in the background.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, so they're a couple now. Like we like fans know, okay, yeah, they're supposed to be a thing in the comics, but it's kind of like they didn't really have time to flesh that out. So it was kind of like it seemed very random. It's like, oh, okay, so in one movie they're kind of flirting, the next movie it's implied that they're together, but then they have to go on opposite sides in Civil War. So it's kind of like it was just a weird kind of situation that happened, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're just supposed to buy into this. And then obviously this show gave the opportunity to kind of flesh that story out. And that quote that Vision said,
what a great quote that was.
That is the quote. That is the quote for that statement. Like that what grief is, love persevering.
Well, it's like, but what is grief if not love persevering?
Yo, bars. The internet lost their minds when you said that.
Bars, bro. Yeah. When I got chills hearing that I'm like, yo, this guy is a poetic robot right here, yo. Like I was like, damn.
My favorite moment was like everyone in the audience started crying, even Wanda started crying, and then fucking Agatha even wiped a tear away.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie, it got me, bro. I was like, oh shit, this motherfucking robot's making me tear up and shit. Like it was intense. I love that line. It made me love Vision even more, and I honestly, the whole episode was phenomenal, and I did like the element of like how Wanda, her powers were kind of remained dormant, and it was the stone that
Mind Stone.
the Mind Stone, which was what brought it to the forefront of her mind, and actually like heightened her abilities, basically, right? Rather than giving her the powers, which actually begs the question: is like, was that just Wanda specifically, or did Pietro have that same deal?
In my mind, frankly, I think Wanda was the reason why Pietro got his powers. Because, like, look at her powers versus his. He can run fast. She got, like, reality warping.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone thought that maybe she also, because there's a lot of things that she changed in that reality, like she's actually changing people's outfits, and that stuff was actually on them when someone, like when what's her name, Rambo left, she had the outfit still on. So someone suspected that maybe she gave the power of speed to him, like she shifted that reality, and then it became his reality going forward at some point. But we never saw it. It just that's what happened behind.
My hypothesis is that, like, because, like, basically no one survived the experiment with the Infinity Stone except for Wanda, and then I think Pietro went after her, and she on some level kept him alive, and then he just manifested some level of ability, which just so happened to be I think like all you could do was run fast.
Maybe we'll see something, and maybe there's some level of, like, he actually got super speed because she had to, like, move his molecules fast or something to compete against what was happening, and in saving him, gave him powers.
Well, it could have been when they got hit with the explosion, because, like, realistically, her and Pedro should have been dead too, based on that blast.
That's also true.
I mean, maybe she did something, and then
she doused him with some stuff, and then the Mind Stone reacted to him, but, like, on a far less level. That's interesting,
because they were in close proximity, and it was the parents that were behind her, right? So maybe it at that time, because her powers were so dormant, it could only reach a certain radius and not enough to reach her parents. Hence why they died, and Pedro and her survived, kind of thing.
Like they're like,
because there was like a scratch on them.
So, maybe they were touching, like holding hands or like holding each other, and that's literally, if you're only touching her, that would be how you would have been affected by her.
Right. Yeah. Right. Are we just doing episode 8, or are we?
No. We unless Darcy, do you want to talk episode 8 or
no? I mean, like, are we all going like 8 and then 9 kind of thing, or? I
say we do 8 and 9 with you, and then we all pile on.
Okay, so mine is gonna be brief. 9 was some bullshit. Like 9 was some fucking bullshit, bro.
Yo, big setup, big disappointment, right?
Like, yeah, it was like, first of all, I had to sit through 3 bullshit episodes to actually start enjoying the show. Because then after the 3rd episode, I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. I'm intrigued. I'm hooked. I'm curious to see how this pans out. And then as the show starts to progress, they're giving me more and more things that are, like, leading me to believe that, like, it's gonna go a certain way. And then I make the foolish mistake, much like everyone else, and start kind of getting on the bandwagon of all these fan theories of, like,
it killed everyone.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, yo, that sounds sick. Yo, Doctor Strange is gonna show up. Yo, Reed Richards might come through. All right, I'm in. I'm invested. Yo, this is gonna lead to the introduction of the Avengers, or not, X-Men. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm down. I'm ready for all of this shit to happen. And then they give me none of that. They don't give me Doctor Strange. We don't see Mr. Fantastic. We don't see any of the X-Men that we do see. He's not even a fucking X-Men.
He's a Boner
he's
joke.
Like he's some Ralph Boner. And I'm like, come on, Marvel, you're better than that. Why are you giving us childhood, like,
blue balls?
Like just stupid jokes like that. Like, you're better than that, man. You're better than that. Be better. The only thing I like,
being better. That's the worst part. Like, if they were giving us, like, a really bad time, at least we could be like, well, it didn't do anything. This was really, like, a really awesome. I'm not going to make this a sexual reference. Nonetheless,
I'm going to make it a sexual reference.
Let's do it.
It's like getting head from a chick, and then she stops midway through, and she's like, you know what? I'm not really about this. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not about this? You better finish. You better give me what I wanted. It's like, nah, you know, why don't we just hold hands instead? I'm like, I don't want to hold hands. I don't want to hold hands, all right? Man, the action was great. The way they ended things was cool. I did not like. Again, they give us blue balls with the end credit scene. Like I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck is that? Like, both of them. I don't want to see a scroll.
Good.
I didn't give a fuck. I don't want to see any more scrolls, man. I want to see Mr. Fantastic. I want to see Doctor Strange. I even want to see Spider-Man.
Did you want to see Mephisto? Or sorry, your Manifesto?
Yeah, Manifesto, yo, he can show up. I don't care. Like, bring all of that. But we got
Do you know
nothing.
how bad the theories got for me and my boy Jimmy? We thought that
but you had a good theory though. Tell them your theory.
So, like, we had heard Paul Bettany, like, fuck Paul Bettany. He told us that, someone he can't wait to like work with this actor. So me and Jimmy started going like crazy where our mind goes, and we thought, oh my god, Marvel, you're a genius. Al Pacino was in talks. Like, he said he wanted to be in MCU. If Al Pacino shows up at the end as Mephisto, as like a cameo thing. Holy shit, he's like referencing Devil's Advocate and also opening up the whole Marvel universe. None of that shit happened.
Damn.
Now I don't believe a word any of these Marvel motherfuckers say, man. Like, you know how Tom Holland was like, oh yeah, apparently like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire aren't in it. I don't buy that shit at all. I don't buy it. I do not buy it. They're in there. They're there.
So
fuck, watch them not be there, and I'm gonna be so pissed. Like,
yo, yeah, you get ready for being pissed. You know, I had two random thoughts, but one, Paul Bettany had to like apologize to people. Because he was talking about himself as a joke, and I'm like, it's a good joke. It's just not the right time.
It's a better joke than Ralph Boner. I'll tell you that, though.
I do agree with that. But you know, actually, when you talk about Al Pacino, it made me think of, which would actually be amazing, but not right now, but for later, is like, what if a character like act like Al Pacino was in the episode incognito as a regular character? You had no idea, like, was actually on set in some kind of makeup and was in the show, and they never announced it, and then later on in a future material you see that character act out and he was there, and you're like, so Paul Bettany actually did get to act with the person he wanted to act with, but we didn't get to see it because MCU's like, no, actually, you know what? We're gonna hold off on that. We got a bigger plan.
No, you know, the only reason I could see them doing that is from all the backlash that they got from this shit. They're like, yo, we gotta find a random character in this show right now to say, yo, that was Manifesto, and like have him be the person or whatever.
Yeah, you know, it's gonna be that milk delivery guy.
Yeah. Or what happened to the beekeeper dude?
True that. They
say that he became the ice cream dude.
Okay.
The ice cream dude.
It was in the credits. Darcy, what are your thoughts?
It was in the credits.
Yeah. It was like in one of the credits. He was like giving ice cream, and everyone surmised that he was the one that was in the beekeeper outfit.
Yeah, man, that was
Darcy, 8 and 9. Your thoughts?
I feel similar, not exactly the same. So 8 is a treasure. 8 is an amazing treasure. I love Vision for that statement. I love seeing Wanda's backstory. Like, we've heard kind of like, and I hope we get some of this in Black Widow, but like, we kept always hearing every time Black Widow and not Hawkeye would be like, oh, what is that? What is that place that they always reference?
Berlin.
Budapest,
yeah.
Budapest, right? And we heard about Wanda and the brother like reference multiple times about like, you know, the Stark thing and whatever. And just seeing it was like, oh yeah, I actually would not really like Tony Stark the first time I met him. I really empathize with that, and also got the feeling of like how far she would have to go in her emotional growth that we didn't get to experience, but now we have context for her to like Tony Stark, or
just be okay with him.
Yeah, right. Like, to trust him at any level, basically, to be around him at any level. And I guess we never really do see her be fully okay with him ever, because she gets snapped away. Him. No, I know, but like, even like, she snapped away during the 5 years and stuff. She comes back, so it's like there's not like a lot of time for her to actually, you know, build a
Civil War too, and I mean,
but she's on the opposite side.
But she was living for 2 years at Avengers, and like, you know, Tony owned that place.
Yeah, I get the feeling that that was tolerate, not build a rapport.
Agreed. I completely.
Well, like, where else was she gonna live, really? Like,
yeah, no, 100%. I'm just saying, I'm more impressed with the layers that they have to go on there. Overall, for the whole season, her and Paul Bettany, the actors are just fantastic. They got so much range to display. And so going in episode 9, one of the things I really liked that stuck with me was the Vision versus Vision conversation. Not the fight, but the conversation.
I love that conversation.
I loved it because I loved it from the second he was like, "Have you heard of this theory?" He's like, and I just love like the personality, like I'm listening.
I need further elaboration.
It's like people with guns out. He's like, okay, but have you? It's like, oh, you know what? I'm open to a conversation right now, right? And then that whole statement, right? And I was like, oh, I love that statement. Like just even thinking about it. Yeah, the Dragon Ball Z level-esque element to the show was whatever. There was definitely disappointment there. It was so average after so much hype. I'm a little bit mad that my counterpart in the show got done wrong at the end. Just basically was like, all right, peace out, y'all. Like didn't even get to say goodbye. Just disappeared. It was
she
like,
just hit a guy with a car and then she was like, peace.
Yeah, I know. And it was like I was watching like what I think Campy or something like that. And it was just like literally like Rambo was just like, I forget if she said something about it, but it's like you think she would show up to talk with all like the Rambo and everybody else. It's like, no, she's just not there. Like
Jimmy Woo's in charge, man.
I know, but like the three of them were the dynamic duo.
I know.
So or triple. Whatever.
Trio.
Trouble. We're gonna go trouble.
Okay.
It's a triple couple. Trouble.
Okay.
I'm in a real life trouble. I know this word, okay? I knew we were gonna do that. Friendship. It's a friendship thing. It's not YouTube. So
I believe only Umar needed clarification on that.
yeah, that was what it was for. But overall, like I went into this show expecting it to be like 7 episodes of me like dragging along. I expected the show to be 10 episodes originally, but like a 7 episode or 70% of the show dragging me along and I'd be bored. And then the last episode would be like, oh, it's kind of cool. Hurry up and get on to the next show. And I'll be waiting for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like that's what I thought was going to happen. And I was pleasantly surprised from the first episode. But after that 3rd to 4th episode, I was like, nah, this is a shit. It got really, really, really good. But definitely episode 9 came down a little bit. Episode 9 is probably as good as like episode 6, if you're talking about a client kind of dropped back down. But overall, it was a really enjoyable show. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I think I'm more in alignment with Darcy than I am in Tactix. Like for me, I'm with you guys. I loved episode 8. It was fucking phenomenal. I only have 2 very, very minor tweaks I would personally do, but I'm okay with how they went about it. The 2 tweaks are one, when Wanda is like going through. Okay, fine. When Wanda is going,
Darcy just zoomed in on his video.
Yeah, I'm just like zooming in because like Umar, you have critiques for that episode. Let me just zoom in. Let me see my face.
Even I admit there are minor tweaks that are very much nitpicking, but it's just, I would even say these are personal touches, not objectively making it better. But when Wanda is going through her like periods and Agatha opens the door to the one for her being experimented by Hydra, I loved how she was like, I don't want to go back there. But then it kind of like she just walked. I would have liked her to have a little bit more resistance to it. And the second tweak would be that I wish that the experiments that were done to her were a little bit more, not horrific, but a little bit more like scary than her just walking to a room and being touched by the Mind Stone. That's it. That's all my tweaks. I'm totally fine with the way it was. I would have wanted a little bit more, but whatever.
Yeah, and also for anybody listening and was totally thrown off by that, I think he meant through her memories, not her periods, because it just sounds I was like, going through her parents, and
That's why they call her the
that.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, like, all I was thinking about at that point was, can she reality bend her way her period like cramps and stuff like that? Like that's all that was going through my head.
Oh, I'm
You
so
motherfuckers are
sorry,
nasty.
everyone. Anyway, moving on.
Y'all nasty.
No. In terms of everything else you guys talked about in that episode, I loved it. It was a really, really good, well put together episode that just was further cementing how amazing the show's trajectory was, which made it so much more difficult for the next episode when instead of continuing upward on the scale and not even just plateauing, we actually went down. However, I will not say I found like the episode was less than what we were getting. We had gotten really good writing, really good dialogue, really good imagery, really, really good metaphors, and then we got the final episode that turned out to be a regular MCU fighting ending. Like, granted, it was a better fighting ending than, say, like, I don't know, like Justice League or Wonder Woman and that sort of thing. But still, it felt like it was almost like the studio was like, no, you need to put a fight in here, and it's like, okay. And so I will say, however, I really fucking loved when Dottie showed up to be like when Agatha started like releasing the townspeople of their control, and like Dottie comes up to Wanda and it's like, can you please let my daughter out of her room? Like she can be the bully at your children's school, but can I just hold her again? And I was like, whoa, that's fucked up. And then they were like, when you let us go to sleep, we have your nightmares. I was like,
damn. You know, actually, something I loved about the episode I didn't call out is the ending. Like after the fight was when she's like letting the world kind of collapse back in on her and saying goodbye to the kids, and then that moment, I thought it was going to be cheese, but it wasn't. Like it was really sincere. It was really heartfelt, and it didn't end with. He didn't say like he said like we'll see each other again, but I thought it was going to be like. It's like, oh, and then like one, they didn't combine, like the two visions didn't combine, and two, I'm glad I didn't say something about the other vision because it actually leaves it open that like they might not be the same vision when she meets him again.
Yeah,
but he's hoping that there will be some way that they'll be able to become one, and it's just like it is like it lets the sadness be sad.
That I completely agree. I found there are three things about the final episode that I loved. Actually, four things. One, Wanda's outfit as the Scarlet Witch is hella fucking dope.
Yeah, man, 100%.
I'm glad they showed us like a comic book true version in the Halloween episode just to see just how fucking awesome this was, because like it's like they took the Halloween episode like true cosplay outfit and then like gave it a Magneto spin from Apocalypse and made it her own, and like fuck, she looked awesome. So that's number one I really loved. Second, the whole Dottie thing about the townsfolk and then her like and Wanda like freaking out and then strangling the townfolk, which kind of, like her like the way the town is going to look at her kind of reminds me of how like the X-Men are being looked at by like regular people. So that's number two. Number three, I'm with you, Darcy. That ending of them two, like their goodbye, was not cheese. It was poignant and it was beautiful and it was full of sadness and like just beauty of acceptance of grief, which goes back to what Tactix was saying about grief that I love so much. That I completely agree with you, man. Like when she exploded and created a world to fit her, trauma, holy shit. And number four, I loved the vision to vision conversation, and like it makes sense. He is a higher life form. They can have a reasonable conversation and reach a conclusion to the end, and I love the fact that they did that. One thing I also want to point out that I haven't seen a lot of people say it yet online, because a lot of people were more being upset with the fact that like their theories didn't pan out. Vision. And actually, Wanda and Vision together, WandaVision, did a remarkably subtle but powerful feminist angle. Just like in Infinity War, where Vision was the damsel in distress, and Wanda was like the person trying to protect him, and also has to be a big, powerful person. It was kind of carried on in this. Granted, the show through sitcoms showed the treatment of women in media, but the whole time she's the main person. And that episode when they had the fight, Vision is the one who is acting quote unquote emotionally, which is stereotypically the woman's position, and she's the one who is both in control and the one telling Vision that I can control you, and also you need to calm down, which I found to be very powerful. And then it was accentuated again in the final episode where Vision was protecting the boys while Wanda went up and was in the big fight. And I honestly can't remember another time where a male in an action movie or any kind of superhero movie where the male was left to just be the protector of the children while the woman goes out and for the fighting. And so I thought about that. I'm like, holy shit, like we're used to Marvel doing the over-the-top endgame version of like, yo, she has help, and all the women get in there and start fighting Thanos and all the things, and everyone calls that really cheesy. We had a very subtle, very powerful, very prolonged example of progressive feminist positioning and commentary, and I fucking loved it. It just so happened that it was in the episode that broke my heart a little bit at the same time.
Well, I think it was meant to break your heart a little bit when it was a sad ending.
Sad ending, yes, but then,
I know.
How could they not have Mephisto in there, man? And fuck Ralph Boner. The entire fucking time. Tactix, I even remember you. Ralph has to be Mephisto. Or, sorry, you called him Manifesto. And it's Ralph Boner. They made a dick joke with Ralph.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely say that whole character was a letdown for sure.
Yeah.
Like you used that guy. like there were so many things to do with using that specific actor.
I do want to bring up one other thing that was in 8 that I loved in 8, and then just was further accentuated in 9. That sword director is a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. No. Nobody would disagree with you.
Fuck him. Like, not only did he make up the story of Wanda stealing Vision and doctored the video, he was also a douche to her when she went to go see the body. And yeah, it's like, fuck him.
Yeah, it's like you mean the property. And it's like, you can see she's grieving. You go talk to her like she forgot her library card.
And he's doing this to the person who took on Thanos. Like,
yeah.
What was his end game in all of this?
Yeah.
I think we leave it there. I had thoughts about. There's no better ending than that. Oh man!
Before we move on, any final thoughts about WandaVision? Oh, actually, yeah. Let's give it an overall rating. Tactix. What would you give the entire series out of 10?
Would have been an 8, like a high 8 for me, but that the way it ended, I have to give it a 7.5.
Okay, you know what? I hear you. I hear you on that one. Darcy?
Just gonna give it an 8.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I want to give it an 8.5. I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes, but that's because it kind of catered to my love for old sitcoms from Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore and I Love Lucy. So I actually really enjoyed the first 2 eps.
It's a smart and creative show.
Agreed.
And had a lot of had they have catered to some of the fan service or created more fan service, I think my rating for it would have been higher, because it turned out that a lot of the fan theories were a lot better than what we actually got, in my opinion.
We put more thought into it.
Yeah, and so that's why it was kind of a letdown for me. But overall, that aside, it's a very, very innovative show, and I appreciated what they did with it. And in the beginning, like I said, I wasn't really feeling the sitcom angle. And I'm familiar with some of those shows, like I Love Lucy and whatnot, but I felt like those 3 episodes kind of dragged on, and I didn't really know where it was going. And then it kind of came full circle when we when we got to episode 8, and it all started to make sense in terms of how everything kind of correlated. It wasn't the sitcom world wasn't just some random bullshit. It was like actually reminiscent of like an experience that she had shared with her family. And it was like all the old school movies that she grew up watching with her family as a kid, kind of thing. And then she was just basically reliving that as a means of escapism from her trauma that she experienced, right? So I thought that was a really interesting angle that they took. So
I'll also call out the fact that like sitcoms, like for example, Home Improvement, Tactics, you're kind of doing like with that neighbor guy from like who's like just covering half his face the entire series.
Well played.
Darcy, any final thoughts?
No, I think I'm giving them all, bro.
Go. All right, moving on, people, to Raya and the Last Dragon. It is a movie that just recently came out, actually this past weekend, on Disney Plus. It's a Disney animated film, and it is. We talked about it in a previous podcast, only about the fact that it was coming out and that the trailer was out. And bros, have you seen the movie?
Yep.
All right, then, Darcy, how about you start us off? Because I think you're the one who saw it most recent.
I liked it. I didn't love it. It was. I'm gonna start with like a rating. I was hoping you go for me last, so I could drop these bombs later. But like, so I want to say that like for me, it's like a 7. And
really?
Yeah, and there was. So here's the thing. Let's start with what I love, okay? I love the animation in this, okay? The animation is stellar. I especially love when they do like shots that look like they're like filmed for real inside the animated world. I think that's amazing, okay? I love that little baby. That little baby is amazing, okay? Like, right? Like there's like one point it's like a look like a side profile, and I was just like, yo, this baby's legit. It actually almost looked photo real from that side profile. And overall, I like a lot of the representation and the meaning and the like the Avatar like feel. But the problem for me is that the story felt kind of obvious to me, and in many ways, and I felt like culturally so much of it was either on the surface or it would be a nod to something that you would only really understand if maybe you were like deeply into a culture that like it might be hinting at, but even still it only feels like it was all hints. I just felt like there was more culturally that they could have dived deep into within those Asian cultures. Like one thing though that I like was a nuance was when the dragon, I forget her name right now. You remember the
Cecil?
Yeah, something like that. It's not quite that, but her like I just bring them a gift like like food or whatever, and it's a really big thing in like these cultures that you bring a gift when you go to somebody, even if you're going to an enemy. You like if you were looking to have a conversation, you would bring a gift. And so like that was a nice nuance, but I don't know, I just felt like it was how Mulan was touching on a lot of surface areas of the culture, but it had more time to go deep. This, because it's so many different cultures, it was kind of hinting at, like Vietnamese and Chinese and Japanese and like potentially, I think, Korean and stuff like that. Like they're hinting at that, like they didn't get depth for me, and I wanted that more depth. So that's where I sat. I'm gonna leave it to you guys. See how you guys felt.
T.
I gave it I think it was a 7.8 or 7.9.
I thought you gave it an 8.
No, I don't think I gave it an 8. No, because I remember it wasn't quite an 8 for me, but I enjoyed it a little bit more than I did Soul, and I gave Soul 7.5. I
think Instagram will agree with me, but nonetheless, continue.
No, I'm pretty sure I gave it a 7 point. I didn't give it an 8. But what I will say is I kind of agree with Darcy somewhat in regards to, they were definitely lacking in the cultural representation. I think they could have gone a little bit deeper. That being said, with a name like Raya and the Last Dragon, I wasn't expecting much outside of the title. It's going to be about Raya, and it's going to be about some last dragon, and that's as much as I was expecting in terms of that. And then the storyline was going to be, I anticipated the storyline to be centered around something to do with that, not so much about cultural representation. But I agree that it did definitely lack of that. I have to admit, I know you guys were. I know Umar, you sent this into the chat, the trailer anyway, numerous times, and I'll be honest, I did not check out the trailer, so I was literally going into this blind. I had no idea what to expect. I figured, I was like, you know what, like, I'm rather than watching the trailer, I'm just gonna go in and just watch it. I have some time to kill, so I checked it out, and you know, with movies like this, it's always kind of hard for me to watch them initially because it's not. Like these aren't the typical movies that I'll go out and rush to go see, right? It's usually like if you know I'm with my girl or whatever, and like we like she wants to go see it or something like that, or or whatnot, or if like a group of us are going to see the movie or planning to go to see the movie, then I'll tag along kind of thing. But I'll never just like if I'm home, like I'd rather just be working than invest in a movie like this. But like I said, I had some downtime, so I figured, you know, I'll check it out. And
you got that Disney Plus though.
And yeah, and plus I got the Disney Plus courtesy of Umar, so I might as well make good use of that. And you paid money for this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would have felt really bad if I didn't. You know, like this man spent his hard-earned dollars on it, and no one watched it except him. So yeah, so I decided to check it out. And what I really enjoyed was the fighting, the representation of the fighting, because I saw a lot of Muay Thai in there, which was really great.
There was also some capoeira, wasn't there?
So a little, maybe, yeah, a little bit of it, but yeah, the fighting was phenomenal, and the animation, like Darcy said, was stellar, spectacular. I really enjoyed the animation. Storyline was interesting. I liked the storyline overall. I liked the message. Would I subscribe to that same message? I don't know, man. I mean, if a motherfucker was shady like that to me, yeah, yo, you might just have to turn me into stone, yo. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I put that much trust into a villain like that after she backstabbed me twice. So I don't know. But yeah, I overall I like the message. The ending got me when she reunited with her father, and she had that little tear, and I was like, oh, okay, that got me a little bit, you know. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. Can't really say much else than that. I thought it was pretty well fleshed out, and there was enough there to pique my interest. So yeah, 7.9.
Umar, before you go, I want to throw a point out because I just want to like clarify something that I've already said. So I meant to Google this before the episode, but I just Googled this now. So when I talk about like the cultural representation issue for me, so I just Googled and I'm like, I should have picked up on the fact that Raya is a Filipino character, right? Based on the name alone. But for instance, like there are things in there that I was just Googling talking about like the sword she's using being a specific like Filipino sword. And the problem that I have is not that those details are there, is that they didn't draw me as a person who doesn't know anything about the culture to learn about the culture. Like it was like, these are all generically Asian things. And I'm like, well, they're not all generically Asian things. Like I recognize like the outfit on the baby to be more like Chinese. And I recognize now that the Raya is Filipino, and they are these cultures, but it's like, I wish even if they don't call them Filipino or call them Chinese, they had their names. If they just did something more than just show it, you know, like I
hear you.
After watching something like Coco, where you just like you learn without them saying, "Hey, Mexican culture," it's like you just experience Mexican culture, and then you walk away going like, "Ah, yes, the sandal is the deadliest weapon."
Yeah, it's like it's like a missed opportunity for them to educate people that aren't familiar with the culture. So yeah, I definitely get that, and that Coco reference is a good example of that.
No, I actually like my review is going to have something similar to that, because like I will agree with you. Like for me, I really enjoy this film. But then again, like I wasn't anticipating to like it as much as I did. I agree with you. The animation is gorgeous. It's just top notch. Like there's nothing I looked at and I was like, I wish they did that differently. I'm like, holy shit, they did that. I found this to be a badass Disney film. Like I'm pretty sure I probably felt other movies were from Disney were badass, but like this one is like it made me love it that I can't actually remember the other ones. The story I felt was, and I think my boy Jimmy said it the best. It felt like a movie of a series. Like if like a series was turned into a movie, this is what it felt like. And I think that kind of ties to what you're saying, Darcy, because like look at Avatar: The Last Airbender. They spent a season per like territory. Had Raya done the same thing, we could have gotten what you're asking for. And frankly, part of me is kind of sad that we did it movie wise first. But hey, like like it was done well. It is a missed opportunity. I agree with you because they had so many cultures they put in there, just like in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And like even Frozen, we got like Nordic culture up our ass, and we were able to get it. With Raya, we're just seeing things, and we're like, oh, that's pretty. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, that looks cool. But that's it. We're not getting any kind of enrichment of it, but we are getting representation. We are getting music that easily funnels through us, and we're hearing names that we're not being like, oh, that sounds funny. We're like, oh, Raya. And like people are going to start naming their kids like this, like up the wazoo now. And like Sisu and like Jamari or Tamari, I can't remember. Tactix, I'm with you. I would have killed that woman. Like I would have ended the world because I would have killed that woman. And I do, but at the same time, I love the message that they give. It's like, hey, look at this in a nation-wise thing, like in diplomacy-wise. People have done horrible shit to us, or people have done horrible shit to other people. There's a really bad history between nations and like how treatment of people. You got to put that shit behind you if you want everyone to live peacefully and for us to like make things better now. I love the fact that they actually had a film that talked about that. It's not a common thing people talk about, and they usually like kind of like sugarcoat that. Oh, they said something bad, or oh, they did something bad, and they feel really bad about it. This was like, no. This person did some shitty stuff from beginning to end. Yes, they didn't really want to, and I have to admit, like I got a tear in my eye randomly when like the dragon comes to that trader for the first time, and like she doesn't look in fear, she doesn't look in like terror, she looks in awe. And to think of like the villain looking at something in awe and actually feeling bad about like actions she did afterwards, I was like, holy shit, you just humanized the bad person. I'm also with you on this Tactics. My daddy issues came cramming on high when Dad came back. I was like, Daniel Day Kim's back?
It gets you in the feels.
And it sucker punches you. Like I knew he was going to be okay.
Yeah.
But still, and like when he threw her off the bridge to save her, that also got me. I'm like,
yeah. You know, they did a nice touch too when she came back. He kissed her, right? And I'm like, I don't think I've ever really remembered a realistic looking kiss like in a movie.
From like a parental kiss?
Yeah, like an anime parental kiss. Yes, but it was just something about it where it was like, I don't know, just. When that moment happened, I was like, yeah, that felt very real. Like, that's exactly the first thing that father would do. Hug her and kiss her. And usually I feel like a Disney movie would just do the hug, right? Yeah. And I'm like, that's no, they zoomed in, they showed you what he would really do. Like, from his experience, he threw her and then he turned to a stone and then he sees her as an adult. That's his whole experience. He basically got the snap, okay? Everybody in this movie got the snap, okay? And like that's his first moment. So he's got so many emotions. And it like you imagine like the last thing that you saw was the world is coming to an end. And everything you set out to protect is coming to an end. You can't even protect the one person that you care more anything about. And then the next moment you come back, you realize you've lost 6 years with this person. And they've somehow accomplished your dream. That was like those moments were fantastic.
Yeah, like I would say like the human element. Yo, 100%,
that's fucking 100%, deep, bro. 100%. I didn't even think of it like that, but I'm like, yo, like he comes back and he's like, oh shit, I don't have to do anything. My dad just did it for me.
I would say that the human element is what I loved. The progressive element is what I love. Like little girls are going to be watching Raya and they're going to see nuance. They're going to see complexity. They're going to see like just emotional damage and also emotional like repair and also like processing and all that sort of stuff. What a time for children to like watch something, and I'm like, good for them. For me, I just like, I'm with you guys. I would have liked a little bit more indoctrination in the world, a little bit, but at the same time, they didn't have time for that, and that's why I really hope that they do kind of the reverse Avatar thing, and we get a series out of this where like they spend one season per location, and we're learning about each of the cultures. So yeah, like that's just me on Raya.
Yeah, I mean, I actually take away the show. I kind of wish it was just like how many cultures were there? 4 or 5?
There's I think 5.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. I kind of wish this was like a 3-part film, and
Me too.
like, and you got like a culture and a half every time, right?
Yeah.
Like you started, you went through one culture, you got halfway through another culture, and then boom, and you tie that appropriately with a story where you have like 3 big arcs you got to get through.
I dig that.
Because you could really get through the world, and you could really flush out a lot of you could really build a lot of moments for her having to like overcome and being shot down and disappointment and fighting through it and resilience and all that kind of stuff that I think would have done even more for what you just said, Umar, for the representation purposes.
100%. All right, moving on to our final topic for today. So just out of curiosity, have both of you seen all 3 episodes of Superman and Lois, or just the first 2?
All three.
I have only watched the first 2.
Okay.
So this is a unique situation, but nonetheless, I will say, Darcy made a passing comment in our group chat this week to me about how good the Flash has been for the last couple seasons.
Umar, you want me to jump in here? Want me to jump in here?
You know what, Darcy, just take it away.
Okay,
just take it away.
I literally have a giant sticky note on my second screen to remind me of this exact phrasing of how I feel with the Flash right now. The Flash is like the ex you keep sleeping with, but now that something better came along, you know how bad your choices have been. that like literally like I'm just watching this episode. I don't give a crap. I am spoiling this for anyone who watches The Flash and actually cares at this point. It's like he has this episode where now he gets super thinking because like the Wells give away their life force for him to take dark matter or something so he can get an artificial speed force. And I'm like, first of all, he already had super thinking, because if he moved at super speed, he either is thinking in real time or he's so dumb. How is he not dead from like running into a wall? Because if he's thinking at normal human speed and running like 10,000 times faster, he would be dead because his brain wouldn't keep up with his body. Like, it just wouldn't make any sense. So now he's thinking faster than he already did, and he becomes a motionless robot. Like, he's basically like the White Vision. And he's like programmed to like do only one thing. And then by the end of it, Iris comes in, and of course Iris is the thing that makes him immediately snap out of it. Like, I thought it was gonna be a slow progression. Nah, it was like an immediate snap out of it. This is like some BS. Like, it just makes no sense. And it's just like I get they had to condense this stuff because of what happened with COVID. I understand that, but I mean, they still had that arc. They were going to just do it over more episodes. So it's still stupid. And I'm like, and now you're like watching like Superman and Lois, and it's not a perfect show, but it's got so much heart. And this show just got so much stupidity. Anyways, I digress.
Tactix, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, shit, Darcy, tell us how you really feel. I have nothing else to add to that. I share in that sentiment as well. The Flash is trash, bro. Like, it's so bad. Like, it's a hard watch. It really is. Because I'm currently I'm working on a course, and I've been studying up a lot about like the brain and shit. Like, that element of like him being emotionless, like it grabbed me a little bit, just because of like how it basically highlights how important emotions are, where it's like if you have just all logic or just all emotions, you kind of need a pairing of the two to kind of balance everything out. You can't have one without the other and make reasonable and smart decisions kind of thing. So that's the only thing I really enjoyed about that episode. Everything else is fucking trash. Like the Flash team, fucking trash. The villain, fucking trash. Like I don't care about this mirror girl. Like I don't even understand how she's faster than. I don't understand how the Flash has super speed, and yet he gets bodied by every single person on the show at some he shouldn't be taking hits from Cisco at all. Like that makes no sense to me.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Like Cisco was able to shoot him with like some ray gun or something like that. And
yeah, like now he's got super speed and he's thinking ahead and he gets shot by the thing, but basically he's thinking so fast that they had this quantum ball that's unpredictable and he can predict it. And so he basically threw it at the beginning like he was trying to throw it at somebody and missed, and then it comes back in the end and hits all of them and knocks them all out, and that's how he wins the fight. But it was like he purposely he's like, because his brain is like fast, so he's like predictive thinking is basically what he's doing, right? Whatever. And he's like Doctor Stranging it, but like in like a millisecond in his head. And so he like plans to get hit in this, like it's like in this reality that the one that works, I have to be shot by Cisco, so I'm gonna stand here and take it. It's like he didn't need all this predictive capability. He could have just super speed punched everybody. The whole thing would have been over.
Yo, and did they make any mention to like what happened to Ralph? I totally missed that. I saw his costume in the background, but like no mention. He's just like,
oh yeah,
that motherfucker's just gone. Like they literally have a room of all their lost like partners on the team, and you just see his costume in the background. No mention at all. It's like Orson Welles is dead, and they're like grieving over the loss of that Welles or whatever. And then you see Ralph's costume in the back, and it's just like, yeah, okay, we're gonna leave this room now.
I didn't see the costume, and the first thought that went to my head was like, so he's like, Cisco came back from Atlantis for Wells' death. But Ralph just stayed where the fuck he was.
Yo, that motherfucker's just gone, yo. Like gone and forgotten. They did him dirty, yo. Like
I think they tried to hint at it without saying anything, but the costume's there because I think they said something to the effect of like, oh, it was Cisco. He said like, why is it that like for like everything we do we have to like lose somebody all the time? Which he's talking about Wells, but I think that's kind of the like, oh, we lost so many people. Ralph's costume.
like what happened though? Like Jesus. At least in Batwoman, like you get an explanation as to where the fuck she went, but like Ralph is just gone.
You know what? I'm hoping I Google it and there's like a picture of Cisco when he's saying that line and Ralph's costume's like right behind. Like we lose so many people.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing that they've done so far this season.
So without ruining the third episode for me, and also for anyone else who hasn't seen this third episode of Superman and Lois, how are you guys feeling about it? So Tactix, let's start with you because
like Darcy said, there's so much fucking heart. I'm so invested in this storyline. I didn't think I would like the element with the kids, but I'm really liking the dynamic that they're taking with this. There's so much potential and rich character development. That fight scene, wow, bro. It was only
I only saw this up until episode 2, but I'm actually really enjoying the fight sequences.
The one in this one, it's very brief, it's not very long, but yo, like I was impressed by that. I was like, oh shit. So I like it basically sets the standard for what's to come. I just hope that they keep with this format and they don't fuck it up and do any CW tropes and completely ruin this show. But I really like where it's going so far. They're giving Lois a little bit more to do, which is good.
Good.
She's kind of having her own. It seems like she's having her own arc. The obviously the kids are both having their own kind of arc. Clark has his issues and whatnot. So I really like the dynamic or the aspect of him having to choose between family life and the superhero life and the struggles that he has to juggle with that. Because when I first heard about this show and then like I saw that he had like kids, I was like, okay, what are they doing with this show? Like I don't get it. And then like now that I have a chance to really watch, like sit down and watch it and take it in, like I'm like, okay, I'm fully invested in this show. I like this show. It's making me become a big fan of Superman, and I'm liking the guy who plays Superman too. Like,
yeah, Tyler's killing it.
He didn't sell me at all on Supergirl, but he's doing it for me with this show. Like, give him the spotlight, and he really shines. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the show so far.
Darcy?
So yeah, I love the heart of the show, even though some of the teen angst is like, it's teen angst, but like with that, there's so much heart. I agree that the fight scene was awesome. My one thing I want less of in the show, because I feel like it's harder for them to get it right, is sometimes they did it really good in the very first episode with the
Nuclear thing?
nuclear thing, but when they do really big visual action sequences that need a lot of CGI, I find the CGI suffers because of budget and time, right? They just don't have the budget to do like these big CGI sequences. When they did that one, it was at night, so I think that helped it make it look better versus the day ones where it like identifies like this is very CGI right now, and it's like not the highest budget. So I love the heart. I just want more heart. I want the more fights like the one we get in episode 3. It's like take the best fight from Arrow, like that oneer they did that was actually really impressive. They topped that shit. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Whoo! I was like, damn.
Yo,
he's taking licks. He is taking licks, bro.
Yo, I want to say it's like it was like. Almost like they took a hint of John Wick and superhero stuff. A hint of it. Like there's just something about it. Oh, good.
You're painting me a picture that I don't think
we can't overhype it. You're trying to sell it to a guy who bashed the Mortal Kombat trailer. Okay, so let's not like overhype it here.
Fair.
I will say Tactix before we wrap up. I do want to based on our debate the last time we talked about this series about raising kids with superpowers, has your opinion changed at all given the next 2 episodes?
In regards to whether or not I would reveal that I'm a superhero?
Or just your thoughts on the debate overall. Like, have you remained where you were, or are you still? Have you changed your opinion at all?
Sorry, what was the question?
Since the first episode, you had a very strong opinion that Darcy and I disagreed with. Since watching the next 2 episodes, has your opinion changed at all?
Wait, what did I disagree with?
You would reveal right away to and wouldn't hold it back, and we said we would wait to tell the kids that we were Superman.
Oh yeah, I'd still reveal that shit.
You do not remember the debate, do you?
No, but that's what I asked you. I was like, and you were like, yeah, that, and then there was another thing.
Because basically in episode 2, and I don't know about episode 3, but in episode 2, General Lane kind of laid into to Clark. I know. Laid into Clark about revealing to the boys too early because it really it's already messing up with Lois's life. Did that opinion ever connect with you at all, or did anything else happen in episode 3 that made you question your position?
Kind of, but I just feel like it's still such a risk. I still stand by what I said, and I think that if as Superman, if you're going to start a family, you need you have to weigh the options, right? And understand that there's going to be repercussions regardless of what you do. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. So it's kind of like taking the lesser of 2 evils. I still think it was a wise choice for him to say something and then basically do what he's doing now and provide guidance for them and be there if necessary. It's going to be a struggle, obviously, as it's already kind of panning out to be in the show, as you'll soon see. But
what did you guys think of the Jor-El revelation, where when they analyzed Jordan's blood?
Well, I guess you'll see more in the 3rd episode.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there.
Yeah.
Well, I might as well put a stop right there. Nonetheless, Superman and Lois is better than the Flash, is what I'm hearing.
Hands down, bro. There's no debating that. I dare anyone to debate me on that.
Audience, I need you to understand, I have spent years waiting for this moment to happen because these were the guys who really loved Arrow and the Flash, and I was like, guys, you don't understand, and they called me hater.
Bro, this Daredevil season last season. This is its last season.
Yeah.
Daredevil season 3 gave me a little bit of credit, but now they have finally come to my side.
If they don't step their shit up, it's the last season.
Umar, to answer your question fully, the answer is yes. And in other news, water is wet.
All right then.
All right, yo, I'm your boy Tactix.
This is just Darcy.
And this is Big Geek Umar. Like and subscribe and live long and prosper.